Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome, 2025 Charter Review Board. It is so exciting to be here and see you all. My name is Beth Cardenas. I'm the Director of Government Relations and Strategic Services. I'm the one who's been emailing you, so it's so nice to see you all tonight. If we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple quick notes on the top. This meeting is open to the public, and the public is welcome to attend. Please use your microphones as the meeting is broadcast. It's broadcast by HTV on Frontier Channel 22, Spectrum Channel 637, and on YouTube, and there will be a recording of the meeting available. And if anyone needs it, the restrooms are right across the hall from these main two doors. With that, I would love for the Charter Review Board members to introduce themselves. So I will start with you, Ms. Carlton, and if we just want to go around the room and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sue Carlton. Sorry. Hello, I'm Sue Carlton. I am a former editor, reporter, and columnist for the Tampa Bay Times, retired from that job, and happy to be here.
I'm right. Okay. Yes, ma'am. With it. Okay. Hello, I'm Carolyn Collins. I am a Hillsborough County committed and dedicated resident. Now, I retired from Tampa General. I got sued beat about 5 years ago. After 35 years at Tampa General, I've been in the community working on a plethora of problems and happened to be a graduate of Florida A&M University, past National Alumni President, and believe in getting our kids to college. So somewhere between healthcare and education, that's me.
Hi, my name is Kim Droege. I'm a second-generation repurposed Floridian. My parents came here in 1989, and I followed in 2005. And currently in this chapter of my life, I have my own cable television show on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network called Connecting with Kim. And I'm a member of various other organizations and boards. Community Foundation of Tampa Bay South Shore Advisory Council. I'm vice president of Tampa Tiger Bay and their program chair, and I'm also actively involved in my parish. So thank you. I'm looking forward to serving with all of you. I consider it an honor to be here. And I'm a second generation on the Charter Review. My mother served 2 terms, so I'm happy to follow in her footsteps.
I am Chrisanne Hall. I'm a former prosecutor from North Florida. My husband and I moved down here in 2019. I am a constitutional attorney. I have a national nonprofit constitutional law firm. And somewhere in the middle of there, I was also served in the U.S. military. So that's sort of the short version of who I am. This is a really big honor for me. I'm the new girl on the block, and I'm very excited to be here. And I just want to fill in my part.
Hi, I'm Julianne Holt, recently retired 30 days as the elected public defender here in Hillsborough County for 32 years, and I've been practicing law here for about 43 years. I'm really looking forward to working with every single one of you. I really think this is a really important thing that we're about to embark on, and so I'm looking forward to the next several months.
And likewise, it is an honor to serve on this board. My name is Karen Jaroche. I came here when my dad was stationed at MacDill Air Force Base, so went to Plant High, went to USF, raised 4 children here, and I'm very looking forward to looking out for the best interests of Hillsborough County.
Hi, I'm Deborah Joden, and I'm very new here. I am originally from the New England area, and I moved down here a few years ago, my husband and I. So we've owned small businesses up north, and he's currently a small business owner down here. And I wanted to do something to get involved with the community and get to know what's all going on. So I'm very happy to be here, and again, excited to serve with you all.
Hi, I'm Rick Coons, and my wife Chris and I raised our 6 children in Argentina. We were church planners, recently retired just a few years ago, and just think of that truth: to whom much is given, much is required, and just consider it a privilege to be here with you all.
Hi, my name is Beth Latham. I have been in Hillsborough for the last 30 years or so. I own a small PR and issues management, mainly at the nexus of public policy and crisis communications most of the time. I also am very glad to be here. It's my third time on this board, so I'm really looking forward to trying to get something done this time. Thanks.
Good evening, all. It's my honor to be here tonight. I'm Sid Shah, and I'm a first-generation immigrant here from England. I'm a small business owner owning a 55-plus retirement community in St. Petersburg. Just served on the Citizens Advisory Board, and now I'm here, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Snively, and my family moved here in 2001 to open an insurance agency with State Farm. So I've been an agency owner for almost 24 years and in the business of property and casualty in Florida, such an interesting market. For about 30 years now. We've raised 4 children here in Hillsborough County, married to my husband David for 25 years, and I've served on the Hillsborough County School Board for 8 years, and still very involved in the community. Mainly I spend my time with Boy Scouts of America these days, camping and hiking with my son, and just enjoy being a part of my community, and very honored to be on this board with you all. Thank you.
Jim Taylor. It's a bit of a homecoming for me. I'm with Shoemaker Advisors. I've been with them for about 3 years, but prior to that, worked right here in this building for 9 years, leading the government relations team and working for a county commissioner. So it's weird sitting here and not over there with my former colleagues, but it's a wonderful homecoming. Born and raised right here in Hillsborough in Tampa, Florida. I got 4 young boys, so I will not be retiring for the next 30 years. But it is truly an honor and a privilege to be here, and I echo Ms. Latham's comment to get some stuff done. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Gerald White, Hillsborough County community activist. I started in public service very young. I've had the honor to serve as a commissioner with the Housing Authority of Tampa. I was the vice chairman of the Hospital Authority here in Hillsborough County. I was on the Citizen Advisory Committee to the commissioners for 8 years. I've served on the Charter Review Board twice for Reverend Thomas Scott. I've served on the Charter Board for Commissioner Miller. I've served on the Charter Board for Commissioner Sharp. Been married for over 40 years, longtime employee of Tampa Electric Company. Father of 4, 2 boys and 2 girls, adults. My daughter is a major, graduate of West Point, and my son-in-law is a lieutenant colonel in the Army also. My oldest daughter is a public school teacher, and my youngest son is just a go-getter. He gets it done. It really is an honor to give back to the community that has given so much to me and my family, and I really look forward to serving on the Charter Review Board. And one board, we did get something done. We created the internal performance auditor position. And so I'm looking forward to a engaged opportunity to take a deep look into the Constitution, the Charter of Hillsborough County, and looking forward to hearing from the citizens of Hillsborough County as well, and what can be done and what should be done. Hopefully, we will do it.
Wow, my name's Art Wood. I had to say wow because I'm just so awestruck by the group that's put together this year. It's fabulous. Briefly, I was raised in Miami, educated at the University of Florida, and was in the military, although I did not serve in Vietnam. And then I wandered into a career in credit unions, and I've had 36 years as president and CEO of the University of Miami Credit Union and then the Railroad Credit Union here in Tampa. Along the way, about 25 years ago, my wife and I, probably like many of you, had one of those off-the-couch moments where we're not just going to complain, we're going to do something. So we got politically involved, And not knowing what we could do, we just kept trying things and kept getting more and more involved, you know. And we've had a wonderful 25 years supporting candidates from our city level all the way up to Congress and the points in between, and people like Melissa Snively, as we're supporting principled Republicans. While I was working in credit unions, I did a lot of volunteer work. I'm doing volunteer work still in the community. I'm chairman of the City of Plant City Planning Board, chairman of the local Boys and Girls Club in Plant City, and I was church treasurer, those kind of things. I have served on a charter review board 10 years ago for the first time and 5 years ago. So I enjoyed it very much, and it was a wonderful personal experience, as I hope it is for any of you that are here for the first time, because it's wonderful to learn how the county operates. And it's wonderful to have the opportunity to put things the way we like them to be if we see some changes we'd like to make. So welcome, thank you. I enjoy being here, and I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Rick Van Arsdal. I'm with the clerk's office. And the next thing on your agenda is the oath of office. So if everybody could rise and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and government of the United States.
The Constitution and government of the United States.
And the state of Florida.
And the state of Florida.
That I'm duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state.
That I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state.
And that I will faithfully.
And I will faithfully.
Perform the duties of the Charter Review Board.
Perform the duties of the Charter Review Board.
On which I am about to enter.
Which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I feel like we should clap.
The next thing on the agenda is election of officers, chairman and vice chair. And I'll go over the process first, and then we'll get started. Okay. I'll open the floor for nominations for chair. No seconds are required. I'll continue to ask for nominations till no further nominations are received. Then I'll close the floor for nomination and ask for a vote on each nomination in the order in which they are nominated. All votes will be by a show of hands, and please leave your hands up long enough for me to count the votes. If no nominee receives a majority of the board, I'll reopen the floor, and we'll do it again. After that, we'll do the same thing for vice chair. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll open the floor for nominations. Mr. White?
I'm looking for qualifications. I'd like to nominate Honorable Julian Holt for chair.
All right, I have a nomination for Julian Holt. Is there anybody else? Ms. Latham?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Art Wood.
I have a nomination for Mr. Wood. Do I have any others? Okay. Then I'll close the floor and take a vote. All those in favor of Ms. Holt? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All those in favor of Mr. Wood? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Then Mr. Wood be your chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Okay. Do I have a nomination for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Julian Holt for vice chair.
I have a nomination for Julian Holt. Do we have any others? Then Ms. Holt is your vice chair. And with that, if Mr. Wood and Ms. Holt could go to the respective seats up front. The one with the gavel is the chair seat.
Oh.
Mr. Coons is moving from?
He's doing,
Didn't take long. I was at the front.
I see that. I'll see it on the agenda. Okay. You look really good there. I'm right-handed. Are you left-handed or right-handed? Okay, we'll Thank you very much. And I really look forward to working with you. I am retired, so I am going to be on vacation some of this year. So you're going to be in the seat. I guarantee it. Okay. Next item of business is the official minutes of the CRB meetings. Yes, sir?
Okay. The only other thing is the clerk has taken the minutes for every charter review board, as far as I know. However, we're not required to. You guys can pick somebody else, but we do it free of charge. And our turnaround time is, at the worst, 21 days. We're usually about 2 weeks. But during budget season, we probably will get closer to the 21. So if I could have a motion to that effect, or?
Should we looking for a motion?
Second.
So it was a motion by Ms. Droege and a second by Ms. Snively. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Administrative support overview.
Hi
Yes.
again, everyone. So likewise, historically, county administration has always provided administrative support to the Charter Review Board. So I just wanted to give a brief rundown of what that entails. It's the overall logistics of the meeting, including the binders. And just to note, your appointment letters are in the front flap of your binder. It's maintaining the website for the Charter Review Board, properly notifying for the meetings on the public website. Any research, any speakers you request, I'm happy to coordinate setting them up for your meetings. Also coordinating public comment, having folks sign in and assisting with public comment. And then finally, parking. Since this meeting ends after 6 o'clock at night, parking is free across the street. But if you ever need any help or any questions regarding parking, I am more than happy to help with that as well. That's the summary of the administrative support.
Well, that was quick.
I'm quick.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
Today, so administrative, you are part of the political affairs department for the county. Explain a little bit more.
Sure, I'm happy to. So I'm the Director of Government Relations and Strategic Services. We are quite the catch-all for the county. We do state and federal legislative affairs. We have a state legislative affairs manager and a federal legislative affairs manager. But we also have a whole division of compliance. So that includes HIPAA, equal opportunity. We do boards and councils work, as I'm here tonight. And so I personally don't work on the legislative affairs side. I'm on the compliance side, and then helping you all. You're going to be my board and council this year.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi.
Put your microphone on. Put your microphone on.
You're good.
Okay, I'll get used to that. The minutes, when we were talking about the minutes and indicating that they usually turn over, usually we'll have them at least within 21 days, which mean if you can tell us a little bit about when we get the minutes so that we can review them, and then if we have questions, do we wait till we get to the meeting? Do we get those to you if we see things? Can you explain that to me?
Absolutely. So as Rick said, it takes about 21 days to get the minutes back from them. And I should have mentioned, as far as the meeting packets, I help prepare the agenda. I don't create the agenda, but I draft it. I write it for you. And provide that ahead of time. My goal is to always get you the meeting packet, the agenda, the recap, the minutes a week in advance. So as I did with this meeting a week ago, I sent out the agenda, well, there wasn't any minutes for this meeting, but then if you're going to have any presentations, any PowerPoints, I like to send them ahead. This meeting, I also sent a proposed schedule, roster, all of the information, the charter, all of the information you need. So my goal is always to get you those minutes and the agenda 1 week prior to the meeting. And then I'll send them by email. I'll attach them to a calendar item, and then they're also available on the county website. I always provide that link in the email as well.
And if we saw some changes or have any suggestions, do we wait till we come to the meeting? Do we send them to you?
Either way. And Michael is with the clerk's office. He's over here. He's the one taking the minutes for you.
Thank you.
Sure.
The notebooks that are provided here, do they stay here, or are they allowed to go home with us?
It's your choice. If you'd like to take them home, you are more than welcome to. And then for each meeting, I'll provide any new material, so agenda minutes, if there's any new presentations. If you'd like to leave them with me, I can just have them pre-filled for you for the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Beth? Thank you, Beth. Oh, you're back up.
Not getting rid of me quite yet.
This meeting schedule obviously is really important. I appreciate that you stepped up, and yeah, it looks like you picked the second Tuesday of the month, except for 1 month that's got, I think it's Veterans Day holiday.
Veterans Day,
and
correct.
towards November.
And historically, the charter review boards have met on a Tuesday, so we just stayed consistent with past charter review boards. And I noted on the top that the charter review board will meet the second Tuesday for up to 1 year. The following schedule will be as needed. So the charter review board, all of your appointments are authorized and you're appointed for 1 year. You know, obviously take the time you need, but if you don't need the full time, that's your prerogative as well.
So how does that work for everyone? Because obviously, I know you're all busy. So can you all clear that second Tuesday, or at least most of them? I see in some no's, yeses.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question, if I might.
Please, go ahead.
If you were allowed to, thank you, Mr. Chair. I should have asked your permission first, forgive me. I wanted to ask if you were allowed to miss charter review meetings. Unfortunately, I'm scheduled on one of these dates to be in Tallahassee for some work with another organization. So what's the rule about this?
Yeah, the rules of order are later on the agenda and speak to that, but we can certainly do Teams if you want to do a Teams remote in. Otherwise, you are permitted to miss. I know, I'm sure you don't want to, but.
No, of course not.
We can certainly set up a Teams call if you'd like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. Mr. White?
Yeah. You know, I've sat on several of these charter boards, and it's just going to be impossible to get anything done, only meeting once a month. The county commission meet twice a month. And the minimum I think the charter review board should meet is twice a month. It's going to take at least 3 months just to get a feel on the county and get some of these officials in here. And it just takes a while to just get a grip on your responsibilities and your requirements as a board member. And so, to me, this is just not enough in order to get something done. And members are going to miss meetings here and there, especially in the summertime. So I don't know what the appropriate way to suggest that we, you know, for at least for the first 6 months, meet twice a month. And then if we find that's too much by July, then we can make an adjustment.
I'd like to comment on that, Mr. White. I chaired this group 10 years ago, and we did not require any special meetings. Yeah, we met just once a month 10 years ago. I know you served on me, so served with me. So, and we organized it pretty tightly, which is what I'm going to suggest, that we organize it in the same fashion this cycle around, and we did not require any special meetings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all hope you all accepted the notion that if things come up and we get bogged down, we might need special meetings. But I really hope to organize it with your agreement, of course, in a way that gets it done in 12 regular meetings. And we'll talk about that before the end of the meeting, before the meeting's over tonight.
Yeah.
May I, since you addressed me?
Okay, go ahead.
At least we need to look at the history of the charter board and see what the board meeting schedule has been since its existence, and talk about it at next meeting when members have a kind of clear idea of what's the history of the charter board. Because the boards that I have served on, I believe, other than the one Mr. Woods chaired, most of them has been twice a month, if my memory serves me correctly. Because you just can't get anything done. You're talking about today, and we won't meet again for another 30 days. So we'll just like be getting on every meeting for the next 3 months, once a month, just getting a reintroduction to the basics. And if you're going to do a study, a comprehensive study of the Constitution, of the Charter of Hillsborough County, you're going to need a little time to be fair to the citizens, in my opinion.
I recognize Mr. Taylor and then Mr. Ruggie.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the spirit of what you're getting at, you know, and I kind of, you know, Tuesdays are fine. Obviously, I'm going to Tallahassee on a weekly basis, but, you know, I'll absolutely make it work. And I view this almost as a skeleton, you know, and I almost take your comments, but I almost flip it. I would say, let's first start with this cadence of this schedule, and then as we kind of figure out what we're going to be looking at, and we can kind of, from there, kind of roadmap what kind of schedule, if we need to amend this, then I would say let's do that. But I would say, you know, I'm very comfortable with the way that this schedule is, you know, put before us, and if we need to pivot based on workload, I think that warrants, you know, saying, hey, let's add an additional, you know, meeting here or there to make sure that we have all the documentation, ensure subject matter experts are able to be here and opine on whatever it may be. So that would be my thought and my recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Droege?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So is there anybody in the room that can actually provide some insight or history on the meeting schedule of former charter review boards? I knew it, Mary Ellen.
My name is Mary Helen Ferris. I'm the Deputy County Attorney. My first charter review board was 1995. And back then, we met twice a month. We did not have the technology that we have now, emails and back and forths and all of that. As Mr. Taylor said, we certainly can add in meetings. This is just the minimum amount of meetings that we need to have. I think, and I'm going on memory, since 2010, it's been maybe 2015, it's been once a month. So it's been a while, and it's worked well. But with the flexibility of adding in meetings, if you've got a big, you know, if you have a big crowd here on a certain issue and you think you need more time, we can certainly add more meetings in. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Snively?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I echo the sentiments of Mr. Taylor, just because I think that it could put an administrative strain on our partners here at the county as well. If it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get minutes, and we have every other week meeting, then that could pose some challenges administratively for our team of professionals that support us, as well as all the public notice requirements and things of that nature. And perhaps what I think I will do personally is I will go ahead and pencil in every other Tuesday, just in case we have to have a meeting, and I won't schedule something for those opposite Tuesdays in case we do need a special meeting, and just go about it that way. But that's just my personal opinion. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
It's okay. My concern was going to be if we could take a look, maybe at the next meeting, and if someone can give us, like you gave us, a general review. I heard comments of individuals who've been on the Citizen Review Board in the past, and I also heard that there was, some boards sound like they didn't get anything done, and some sound like they got something done. So I would like to know what was the frequency of the schedule, as well as related to the efficiency, the way they worked, and what things were accomplished. I think you gave us one example. That would be great for us to make that kind of final decision. And I kind of agree with the other flexibility comments that I've heard, that it would be perfectly fine for us if we need to add another meeting in, because I too was concerned when it was 21 days before we get the minutes, and if we do it more frequently, you know, would that hurt? But if we could have next month maybe like a little short spreadsheet, not much, but giving us an idea on what they did and the kind of accomplishments that were achieved, because as we look at what we're doing, we'll get an opportunity to see what other charter reviews have achieved and also correlate that with the time that they've spent. And that might help us as well.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that. We can do a summary of each of the charter review boards, how often they met, what, you know, issues. We can get all of that to the board well and before your next meeting.
Okay. And not too much work to be done with it, but
oh, no, we can
just
do it. We can pull it
so
together.
That way we can have an idea
pull
of
it
the
together.
frequency at which we need to meet. I like to meet as frequent as possible, but I need to make sure that when we complete, we get something done.
Yes, Mr. Shaw?
I think I heard quite a few members here, and I agree with all of them. Personally, I think we should put it on the agenda for March, to revisit this subject. If we think it's necessary to meet more than once a month, let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Any other comments? Well, we sort of waded into what I was going to suggest with you. We need to come up with a plan as to how we're going to approach our task, and we're all starting to talk about that. And I'll just be really frank with you. Many of us come in with issues. You know, there's something in this charter that's bugging me. You know, and we got to be careful how we organize ourselves, because what I've seen in the past is people have said, well, we're supposed to do a review, but let's take up this special issue first. And before that gets done, it takes 2 or 3 meetings, and then somebody says, raise their hand, I've got a special issue, let's look at that. And you end up rambling all over the place, requiring additional meetings, because you're not really doing a review, you're just beating up on the special issues. So having known that, what we did 10 years ago, which again allowed us to meet just once a month, was next month, the attorney will go over the charter from top to bottom. Okay, and we're all gonna be together, top to bottom. And whenever we hit a section that can be like a breakaway section, I will ask, would anyone like that section discussed at a future meeting? You don't have to say why you're doing it. Just say, that section, I want it reviewed at a future meeting. And we'll go through the whole charter that way, and you can come up with everything that you want to review sometime during the year. You know. And then, of course, at the end, maybe there's something that wasn't in the charter, so I will ask, would you want to add something to the charter? You know. And so in that manner, we've gotten all the topics, and we've completely reviewed the charter, and we've gotten all the topics that we want to discuss. And then the staff puts it into a meeting format and does speaker recruitment and other issues to support the discussion we want to have in that particular month. And we all know ahead of time what the topic's going to be. It's going to be on the agenda and that sort of stuff. So when we did that, it just ran very smoothly. And I'd like to propose that again as the approach to take for our assignment. Did I make myself clear enough? Yeah. 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 Can we, I'll recognize I got 2 folks. I'll start with Mr. Ogie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have the charter in front of us now. We have the actual document.
Sure.
We received them from Beth. Thank you so much. So we have a chance to review it individually and read it individually before we come together as a group.
Yes.
And hopefully that individual study will lead to some identification on our own of
Exactly.
issues.
Exactly. Yeah, you may, as you read it at home, you may see something, there's a section I want to discuss further. Yeah. There and then here. Yes, ma'am.
Just want to ask,
Yes.
in the past, and those that have been on the board, how do we involve the community in case there's a critical issue that may have been left out and the community may want it? Do we notify them with public notification of meetings?
Yes.
Yes,
So that
and-
they will be able to.
The subject matter,
begin
yes,
to-
all of that will be noticed.
Yeah. And in this way, too, you'll know what subject's going to come up in what month. So if there's someone in the public that you hear about, this is, hey, your topic is going to be in the month of August or something like that, you know, you can direct them to the proper time and place to come to a meeting. And you'll notice on our agenda, there is public comment at every meeting, yeah.
Thank you, that'll be great, because with the analysis that we'll have an opportunity to look at from the past, we can kind of look at things, and as we review it, we'll know what was not. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Ms. Snively?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So at this point, I think point of order, because we're getting a little bit sideways, and I believe that I'll ask you, sir, do we need a motion to approve the schedule? And if not, do we need to move to table to the next meeting? Because the rules of order review and adoption, of which we're starting to discuss, are actually further down on the agenda for this evening.
Sure.
So to get past this particular agenda item and move on to the other important topics we need to speak of this evening, do you require a motion to approve that, or are we making a motion to table?
Well, I'm still at the discussion stage. Do we have a commitment that we could meet on that second Tuesday? And I know we may all miss 1 or 2. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second to adopt the meeting schedule as proposed by Beth Cardenas.
Friendly amendment?
So that's good. Any discussion of that? Do we all understand? Yes, sir, Ms. Taylor?
Yeah, I'll just say, emphasize could, have that second Tuesday,
Yes, sir.
that flexibility.
So friendly amendment to the motion on the floor
Yeah.
to meet as needed on the other Tuesday.
On the other Tuesday. That's the backup plan. Yeah. Okay.
Does that need a second?
Yes, which I think.
I think I heard a
Ms.
second
Jarosz
from
seconded.
Karen Jarosz. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we got a motion, a second, and a friendly amendment. We'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Like sign? Nobody's opposed. That was good. Was that a vote? I'm sorry, was that a vote in opposition? No.
No.
Okay,
I was
okay.
saying, are we voting by ayes or raising our hand? I heard somebody.
Oh, okay.
Just for point of clarity.
There will be times when we're going to need hands, but I sense that wasn't, I sense that wasn't one of them.
Point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
So we agreed to the amendment to the main motion. I think we need a vote on the main motion.
Okay, I considered that wrapped up, but,
Pardon me?
I thought if you accept the friendly amendment, we don't have to.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was included, but, I'm sorry.
I thought it was as amended. So, Mr. Taylor, did you?
No, I was just saying, I think Mr. Roach is correct, because that was an amendment to the main motion, so.
So we'll consider that prior vote on the amendment.
Right.
And now
please
we're going to vote on
Don't forget
the amended
discussion in
motion,
between.
which is that second Tuesday, as prepared by the staff. Any discussion of the motion? We all understand? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Motion carries. Thank you. That's a big deal, getting everybody to agree on a date.
Mr. Chair,
Congratulations.
Mr. Chair, who
Yes,
made
sir.
the motion in the second?
Of the original motion,
The original motion.
I made the motion and Melissa Snively seconded it. I'm Kim Droege.
That's Kim Droege.
Thank
You
you.
can't see my,
Yeah, it's funny, I can't see you, so there's a voice coming from somewhere in the back of the room there. I got you. You probably need to raise your hand for me to know you're talking to me, yeah. All right, well, we got the meeting schedule, legal counsel support overview.
Yes, before I introduce myself, I'd like to ask Julia to come up. She's going to be possibly working with me on that charter review board.
Thank you. My name is Julia Mandel, and I have recently rejoined the Hillsborough County Attorney's Office, as I worked at the County Attorney's Office too many years ago to say out loud. And subsequent to that, my first stint here, I was with the Tampa City Attorney's Office as well as in private practice. But I'm really excited to come back to the county and work with Mary Helen and work with you all. Thank you.
Chair,
Yes.
could you
Recognize.
please tell us your name one more time, a little bit slower?
Sure,
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to just move you all along. Again, Julia Mandel, and I'm a senior assistant county attorney. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name again is Mary Helen Ferris. I'm Deputy County Attorney. I've been there for almost 33 years. And the first Charter Review Board I represented was in '95, and this is my 7th. I've represented everyone since. But I do want, for the first decision to make, is the charter provides, and relevant to the Charter Review Board, that the Board of County Commissioners will provide clerical, administrative, and legal counsel to the Charter Review Board. You do have the option of going to outside counsel if you want to. If that's something the board is interested in doing, we can certainly come back with recommendations or the process to go and do that. Otherwise, we'd be happy to do it. I just wanted to stress it is the board's decision on who they would like to have serve as their counsel.
Do we need to do an adoption that we'd like you as our counsel?
I would prefer if it be a motion, whichever you decide to do.
I'll recognize Mr. White.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to have the County Attorney's Office, Mary Helen Ferris, and the team represent the Charter Review Board of Hillsborough County.
Okay, we have a motion, Mr. White, a second by Julianne Holt. Any discussion of the motion?
Chair?
Do we? Yes, ma'am. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, I would just like to clarify your statement. You had said that we could get other counsel if we wanted. Is that option still open as a second opinion if we come to you? Or
Certainly.
the
You
vote
can-
here is
yes,
just you?
absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to
Absolutely.
clarify. Thank
And
you.
I'll talk on a related issue after this vote.
Thank you very much. I'm done.
Good clarification. Thank you. Any other points on the motion? We all understand? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome aboard. You didn't get out of it.
One thing that I have made a practice is to get outside counsel in case the county attorney's office has a conflict. And in the past, we've had very, very good lawyers. Tom Gonzalez did it. Ken Tinkler has done it. We've really not needed to use it, but it's better to get it on the front load than once you have a hot issue in front of you. We also ask them to do it pro bono. And so if you would like me to, unless you have any suggestions, we don't have to do it right away, but I think that we need to have that in place. You can decide that at a subsequent meeting. If you want the county attorney's office to secure somebody pro bono, we can do that. If you have somebody you'd like to use, that's fine too. But you don't have to decide that right now.
Is that
If you wanna
okay to
give
leave
that
that
some
on the
thought.
table? When would we have to decide? If someone were to be used, then we'd have to decide?
Correct. Sometimes it's easier before you have a hot issue to get somebody on board, but it's really up to the charter review board. If we come to that, and it's rare that it would happen, but if we get to that point, then you can always direct the county attorney's office to secure outside counsel so that you have an independent opinion.
Thank you. You have thoughts, Ms. Hall?
I just have a question, if you might offer a scenario, maybe in the past, that created a conflict where you had to conflict out, because I'm curious about that.
Yeah, the main issue would be if this board wanted to, for instance, make the county attorney an elected official, or something like that, where I would been there 33 years, might have, and I think I'm impartial and all that, but just to avoid the appearance that in that case, or something like that, we would go to outside counsel and have them do the drafting and the opinions for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any further discussion on that notion?
I have one thought.
Yes, please. Ms. Latham?
I feel like it would be better just to go ahead and do that now. Use a large law firm, so if it's issue dependent or something like that, and check the box and get out of there. With that, just put it on the shelf. I think that's the best approach, in my view.
Correct. And the county attorney has standing agreements with several law firms with different areas of practice. So we'd be happy to do that, and it's at a negotiated lower price per hour.
And remind me, Mary Helen, when we were looking at county mayor, this was probably my second time on charter review, did we end up even having to use, we didn't, because we
No.
didn't move forward on it? Okay.
Correct.
That's fine.
Correct.
So,
Oh, yes, I'll make the motion. Okay, thank you.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to authorize the staff to establish attorneys that will be available for special, what would you call, special circumstances? Yeah.
Correct. And we can send out that information ahead of time as well, along with the history of the charter review boards and when they met and big issues that they dealt with.
Okay. And that was going to be my question, that if we get those attorneys and they bring it back and then we say, okay, next
Certainly
month,
well in
even if
advance.
we're agreeing to move forward, that's saving time, but then we get a chance to kind of look at them and make sure, having just come off the citizen review board.
So we will know who those attorneys are before our next meeting?
Correct.
Yeah.
We'll send that out when we send out the
That's
other
right.
information. There might be more information that comes
Right.
up tonight, but we'll send that out well in advance.
Okay. Is that satisfactory? Yeah.
Okay, the next thing is a brief overview of the charter.
Well,
We need to vote on it?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
we'll take a vote on the fact that you
voted,
will,
you can go ahead and
you
move
will be
forward.
selecting the special support attorney. So any further discussion of that motion?
Just one
Yes,
more
Ms. Nagle.
clarification.
Yeah, sure,
And
sure.
I think, Dr. Collins, this is what she was trying to say also, if I understood you correctly, is even once we get the list, if we still would like to use another firm or attorney,
Right.
that would be our prerogative.
This is not a lockdown, correct?
Okay, so
Yeah.
just
So
making
our
sure.
for clarity, and you're right, our vote today is to allow the county attorney to move forward.
Yes,
And to
ma'am.
get those, they'll notify us who they are.
Yes.
And then we'll have this on the agenda again next month for clarity.
Yes.
And for completion,
Yes.
finalize it. Okay,
Yes,
I'm
thank
good with that.
And down the road, if another attorney a different attorney should be needed, we can obtain that different attorney. Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, that's good clarification. So I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The next thing for me is to do a very brief overview of the charter. As you get into your discussions of certain aspects of the charter, there certainly will be more information that could be provided. But I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to point out the highlights. Basically, Hillsborough County was chartered by ordinance in 1983. It was voted on, and the first commissioners were elected, I believe, in '87. And one thing in Section 1 is county government does not include the constitutional officers currently, and it also does not affect the Environmental Protection Commission, Aviation Authority, and those. And my thought is that back then, I was in law school, but that the county didn't want to take too big a bite of the apple. They just wanted to be their own county constitution. The next thing, the charter, the home rule power in Florida gives the charter county all powers of home rule that are not inconsistent with general law. So as we go throughout the year, if you come up with an idea, the first thing that I do is make sure that it's not inconsistent with general law. So that is our overriding, with some nuances with it, but that's basically the overriding. Separation of powers, there's two places where there is an exercise by the legislature over the executive. One is the adoption of administrative code, and we do have that. If somebody would like to have it, we can send that out to everybody, and that's also required by statute. And also, the Board of County Commissioners gets the advice and consent of high-level people in the county administrator's office. Typically, it's the assistant county administrators, deputy county administrators, things of that nature. The county administrator would choose the person, give the board the information in advance, and have the board's advice and consent. So those are the two times that kind of overrides the separation of powers. The legislative branch, as you probably know, we have 7 county commissioners. We have 4 elected single member, 3 elected at large, so everybody in the county can vote for those 3. And the result of that is that every voter in the county can vote for a majority of the board, their district commissioner and the 3 at large. There's a term limit, if you want to call it that you can serve as 10 years, up to 10 years as a single member district. Then you can go to an at-large district, and after you're termed out there, you can go back. That's something that other charter review boards have looked at over the years, so that might be something you want to consider moving forward if you want to address that. But that's what it's been since the inception of the charter. Reapportionment is done every 10 years. It's done the year after the census. I actually was the attorney for the last 3. I won't be here for the next one. But it's a very fascinating process to go through. There's a lot of citizen involvement. As you can imagine, it's a kind of a high priority thing. Compensation of the Board of County Commissioners is set by ordinance. If the county passes an ordinance that affects municipalities, they have the option to adopt a conflicting ordinance, and their ordinance would prevail. That rarely has come up over the years. The county internal performance auditor, as Mr. White mentioned, it was put in place many years ago in the charter. We now have the county internal auditor has left, and we have an interim, and the board is actually, in the next few meetings, going to decide what to do with the interim county internal auditor. The county administrator is hired by the board. There's requirements of the background they have to have. The county administrator can hire assistant county administrators, and it basically is in charge of enforcing and putting into action the policy set by the Board of County Commissioners. The county attorney, for many years, the county attorney was chosen by the county administrator. That was changed, I want to say, in '06. And now the board hires the county attorney as well as the internal performance auditor, the county administrator, and the director of EPC. So those are the 4 contract, as we call them, employees of the county.
Could you go over those 4 one more time? I want to make sure I
Yes,
grasp.
yeah.
Just say them again so I could.
It's the county administrator,
Right.
the county attorney, the internal performance auditor,
Okay.
and the director of EPC.
Director of EPC. Okay, thank
Correct.
you.
Now,
That's the
they,
one.
they have their own set of rules, but the board is EPC when they meet as the EPC. Let me go on. The administrative code I mentioned. Amendments to the charter. There's 3 ways to amend the charter. The first one is given to the Board of County Commissioners that by ordinance approved by at least 5 members of the board can place something on the ballot. They can call a special election in March if they wanted to. They can put it on any election. The other 2 ways must be on a general election ballot, and these are all the current charter terms. One is this body. The Charter Review Board convenes every 5 years, and as I mentioned, this is my 7th one. And then they meet for a year, up to a year, and those amendments that you come up with go straight to the supervisor. The board does not have any approval. They can't amend the language. It goes straight over to the supervisor of elections. The third way is by initiative. There was one successful one. It was a county mayor. However, subsequent litigation, not by the county, found some faults with that proposal, and so it was never put into place. The rest of this is transition schedules and general information for the charter. Are there any questions on that so far? And again, we'll visit each one of these in depth.
Just a clarification, so an action taken by this board doesn't end up going in front of the BOCC at all? Okay, just
No.
want to be clear on that, thanks.
Totally separate.
Okay.
Very good. Good overview. Thank you.
Okay, and I will quickly do an overview of the Sunshine Law. I apologize to some members here who's heard it many times over many, many years, but I will make this brief. Basically, the Sunshine Law says all meetings of any public board or commission at which official action to be taken must be open to the public, and reasonable notice must be given. And I'll touch on those. So what is a meeting of the Sunshine Law? Back when I first started, it was obviously the physical meeting of a group or a board committee that's subject to the Sunshine Law. But it's been expanded so much because now, in this day and age, with LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of these ways we can communicate to anybody on the planet instantaneously. So be careful that you don't have phone calls that go back and forth, emails. The best practice is for the staff to send an email out to this board and blind copy themselves or have a disclaimer, please do not hit reply all. So if you have an idea, let the staff know. We will work with the chair to put it on the agenda, but all the discussions need to be at a public notice meeting. The Sunshine Law, again, begins to apply as soon as you're appointed or elected. It doesn't wait until you get sworn in officially, so it applies immediately. Get questions about members of different boards. Generally speaking, there's nothing that would prevent a county commissioner from talking about any issue with a city council member. I do caution that there are many boards, the aviation, hospital, boards of that nature, that you might have a city council person and a county commissioner on that board. So they can't discuss something that's going to come back to that board for action. So with this group, you're mainly focused on the charter. It's a fairly narrow lane that you're traveling in, as opposed to the Board of County Commissioners, where you can have, you never know what kind of issue is going to go back. So they have to be especially careful. Social events, there's nothing to prevent you from socializing with each other. I just caution you, appearance is everything. And if somebody were to see two members having a lunch together, that's not a violation until they prove that there was discussion on an issue that's going to come up before the board. But I just caution you just to be very, very careful. Notice, it has to be reasonable notice. People hate it when the lawyer says reasonable because it depends. And my obviously now longtime example is I was pulling into the building September 11th, and I had heard on the radio that an airplane struck the World Tower. I was thinking it was a Cessna, some little, I'm thinking, oh, that poor person. It wasn't until I got to my office that I realized the gravity of what had happened. And the county attorney at the time called me down there and said the board needs to meet in 20 minutes. So we notified our communications, sent out a blast email. The board did meet. I believe the clerk and the sheriff was there as well because they were deciding whether or not to close the building, which they ultimately did. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but it depends on the circumstance. That's not something that you have to worry about because we will make sure everything is noticed adequately, and in fact, we probably go overboard with trying to get citizen involvement and citizen participation. The written minutes, they don't have to be a transcript. You've got the best agency here to do your minutes. They're thorough, they're accurate, subject to your review, of course. So that is it in a nutshell. Obviously, I will be here if you have any questions now or down the road that I'm happy to address.
Let me ask, just put the question out there. We all were appointed by a commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk to the commissioner about an issue
Yes.
that is going to come before this
Yes,
group?
you're not members of the same board.
Okay.
So it's just two members of the same board can't discuss anything that reasonably would come back to that board for action.
Okay.
So
Thank
if you want to talk to another board member about the Buccaneers or something like that, but again, I just caution you about the appearance.
Yeah, exactly. Any clarification, questions? Yes, sir, Mr. White?
Mary Helen, on several boards, the commission themselves have sent an issue to the Charter Review Board. It would be great to ask them up front, the beginning is what, February, hey, if you have anything you would like the Charter Review Board to study, this would be a good time to let us know as a board. And I think we extended that same invitation to the constitutionals as well.
Correct.
So I would like to see, at least put the feeler out there to the Board of Commissioners of Hillsborough County. If they have anything, let us know. And as a group, we could decide whether or not we want to take a look at it.
Certainly, we're happy to do that. If the board wants to send a letter for the chair's signature, we can help with that. Just inviting them to either attend in person if they'd like to, or submit any ideas that they would like this Charter Review Board to discuss and take action on. And we can do that as well with the constitutional officers. So if they want to come and participate, they can, or they can just submit comments to Beth, and then we'll make sure that every member gets those comments.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'll make it a motion that we do that
Okay.
then.
Okay, so we have a motion to make the commissioners and constitutional officers
correct.
aware that we are meeting and that we will be receptive to any comments they might want to provide us.
Or if they'd like to come.
Or if they'd
make
like
any
to come.
comments.
Or issues they'd like to be brought before the board?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So we have a motion, Mr. White, and a second by Ms. Holt. Any discussion of that motion? Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. White. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the one 10 years ago. It was very forceful. It was a vote of all the commissioners and Commissioner Miller presented it, so I know what you're talking about now, is make them aware that we're here. But 10 years ago, it was very forceful, so he himself came and presented it, yeah.
I believe that.
Other matters?
The only thing left is for the Charter Review Board to adopt the rules of order. These have been used for many charter review boards. They are based on Robert's Rules of Order and also based on the Rules of Order of the Board of County Commissioners. They're scaled down because you don't have as many issues as the board does, but they were here for your review. If you need time to look at them before, we can adopt them at the next meeting. If you're prepared to make that now, that's fine as well.
Ms. Cardenas did send these out ahead of time, so perhaps you've all had a chance to look at them. Ms. Holt? Yeah.
I'll move for the adoption of the Charter Review Board rules of order that have been provided to us.
I'll
And I'll
second.
that.
Okay, who was,
37 seconds.
who was the second? I'm sorry.
Second, I think Ms. Collins was first.
Ms. Collins?
Dr.
Okay.
Collins.
Very
I'll
good.
be able to.
Any discussion of that? Ms. Snively? Yes.
Just a point of information, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
In Section 5, voting shall be done by a show of hands. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, gosh, do I have to do that? Did you go to the fingernail polish today?
I did not, but I really
We can-
need to.
We can certainly expand that. Will be by roll call vote, vocal vote, or a show of hands, or
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Roche.
Yeah, I just had a question on Rule 6, abstention. No board member may abstain on any matter unless there is conflict of interest. Is that normal? I mean, I'm
That's
just
in the-
wondering if there's a conscience, something that,
that's actually in the Sunshine Law.
Is it?
That you have to vote unless you have a conflict or the appearance of a conflict, you must vote.
okay, that's fine.
And
I was just
the
curious.
Commission on Ethics says it has to be, that's one of my areas is ethics. It has to be a financial gain or loss. So I don't think I've ever had an abstention on a charter review board before, just be given the nature of what you're debating.
Okay, I'm good. I just,
And there is a form to fill out if you have a conflict of interest.
Correct, and I will take care of that if that arises.
Okay. Ms.
Chair,
Hall?
yes, sir. My question is, do we need to put something into the rules of order that permits us to appear and be part of the quorum virtually?
Let me address that. That's a really good question. During COVID, local boards were allowed to meet remotely completely. The governor rescinded that executive order, and now you have to have a physical quorum present. But if you have a physical quorum, other board members can join in virtually, as long as the board members can see that member and hear them, and the public can see both. So as long as we have it up and they have the technology to do it, you can't appear remotely if you are unable to come down physically.
So just to clarify, that's only if we have a physical quorum present?
You have to have a physical quorum present to conduct any business.
And so that's something that's established at the state level. We're not able to override that in this meeting right here?
Correct. That's in the Sunshine Law.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. No further.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Droege?
For further clarification, so you have the ability in this room to do the either Teams or Zoom so that the remote member can come in from wherever they are, like, so let's say we're in Tally and we want to join the meeting?
Beth knows more about that than I do. You'll learn that I'm technology. I'm just, I have to go to my kids for anything. I'll let her address that.
Thank you.
Yes, so we have the ability to run Teams in this room. If someone comes in on Teams, it'll be on all of these screens. And then actually back here, we have tucked away a giant monitor that we would roll out so that you could see them as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, very good. We got a motion on the floor. Yes,
May I-
Ms. Collins?
I was going to, before we call for the
Yes,
question,
yes.
just for clarity, you must be able to see them. I watch the Board of Governors meetings every month, and exactly what we're just saying, that's what they do. However, there is, I won't call her name, but a sweetheart that have not been able to be on the meeting, but she is there, she's active, but we don't see her. So do we have to see him?
No, you don't have to be visible.
Okay.
And in fact, back in the early 90s, we had a commissioner that was ill and actually participated, and we've had that come up at the county commission. Before we had the technology that we have now, they would just be vocal.
Present,
So,
exactly.
good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Call for the question.
Real quick, Chair.
Yes, sir. Oh, Mr. Taylor?
I'm sorry.
Point of clarification, so obviously, we talked about our schedule, and we may add some meetings in there, and I imagine one of those meetings might be a workshop in nature, to where we're not taking an official vote on anything. It could be, we have a constitutional, or we have a speaker come, do info dump to us, we ask a slew of questions, but no formal action is taken. Quorum, sunshine, apply, not apply.
Being a sunshine law lawyer, I kind of bristle a little bit. You're correct. The law says at which official acts should be taken. So yes, you can have a meeting without a quorum, you can hear things, you can have presentations, but you can't take any action. And in my experience, sometimes it's really hard to make sure that they might not think that they're making a formal action, but they decide, well, why don't we do this? So it can be done.
And so, but if we notice that meeting, it's going to be a workshop for X.
Right.
It's noticed, obviously, for us, we understand the nature of that meeting, that, you know, we can
That it's a
try as
workshop and
much as we
no-
want to do a formal action, but we can't because the notice is what it is.
Correct.
And, okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can make the notice to where it's clear to the public that no official acts are going to be taken.
Here we go. Ms. Drosh?
Yeah, to that point, I think it's a good idea to do that. If we are having a meeting where we have constitutional officers and they're showing up, but they don't have a quorum, and that way they can still present their information and we can still ask them questions.
Certainly. And that would be in the minutes that everybody else, if anybody was not here, they can watch the video.
Right.
They can read the minutes, so they wouldn't miss anything.
So we don't need to do anything to the Rule 3
Correct.
quorum to have that happen?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good clarification. Mr. Shaw?
So I want a clarification. If you have a quorum and a member is on the Zoom meeting, does his or her vote count?
Yes. As long as you have a physical quorum and you're taking an official action, then it counts towards the vote. It doesn't count towards the
Quorum.
developing the quorum, but the vote does count, yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good clarification.
May I ask?
Yes, Ms. Hall?
Thank you. From what I see, you have to have 7 people gone not to have a quorum. That seems like an enormous amount of people not to be around all at the same time, given who we are. How frequently does that happen?
I cannot remember a time where the Charter Review Board could not take action. And I've done, like I said, the last 7, that has not happened.
Good point. We have a motion on the floor to adopt these rules of order. Any other discussion? No further discussion? I'll call for the vote. You really want to do hands?
She was just teasing.
So
Voice vote is
hands
good.
are optional. Is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know, I should have guessed it would be you. Well, I want to go back to now, what I talked to you about earlier, about how to proceed with our work of the Charter Review Board. And again, briefly, the model I suggested is that starting next month, we will do a complete top-to-bottom review of the charter. And as we get to a section of the charter, if you want it on the agenda at a future meeting, all you have to do is, I'll be asking as we get to that section, does anyone want this reviewed? And it will go on the agenda. You don't have to justify why you want it. And when it comes up later in the year, you may change your mind. I'm okay with that after all. Yeah, something could go like that. But we go through the whole charter, so we'll have done a complete review. we'll have earmarked the sections that we want on the future agenda, and then I'll open the discussion for anything that's not within the charter that should be added to the charter. So we're covering what's there and items that you all think maybe should be there, so. And then the staff really gets the hard job. They have to then organize that into an agenda for the coming months, and pull resources together and figure out what's the best way to present it. And they might well consult with the person that wanted to review the item, what did you have in mind, and what resources do you need, things like that, Is that an approach? I'm open for any comments or any other ways to do it, but that's my thought on how to approach it. Mr. Roach.
How many months, are we taking the whole 12 months to go through the entire charter, or were you thinking like 6 months and then we kind of revisit in the second half?
It actually took every month last 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and it's partly because they spread it out, too, over 10 months.
I'm wondering if we could do it in 6 or 8 months, and then I'm imagining that members of the public would be coming forward, and they may not, let's say, Chapter 1 or Section 1 was reviewed in March, and then in July, we get a lot of public comment. I think that's where you were saying we could go back and add things, or are we allowed to go back under your vision?
We could go back. I think we have to be flexible,
Okay.
If something comes up, like we talked about 9/11,
Because I imagine a scenario where I've gone through it and then I realize, wow, there really is something here, to where maybe we reserve the last 2 meetings, let's just say.
Just for open-ended?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we do like 8 that go through the whole charter, and then we have some open-ended ones that would kind of fall around Christmas. It gives us a little flexibility there. Still open to the idea if we needed to come, every 2 weeks as well. I'd like to preserve that as well, but just so that we have some time at the end if we needed to do some cleanup.
So I'm sort of translating. So when we go through the charter and we see the sections we want to review, rather than putting everything in one of the 10 months remaining, they're going to put everything in maybe the first 8 months and leave the last 2 months for just open, something like that. You're flexible. Okay, that's the thought. Ms. Drugge.
Thank you. I have a question for you, Mary Ellen. Given your extensive experience with the charter review boards in the past, I'm just kind of curious, how much public involvement is there with the charter review board?
Usually, and it's varied depending on, the year and the topics, but we typically have public comment at almost every meeting. Sometimes it's the same people that are involved. Sometimes when you have an issue that generates a lot of public concern or they like it a lot, you'll have a lot more public comment on those issues. But we usually have a pretty good participation by the public.
Okay. May I just ask one more question?
Please.
So wouldn't it also, I'm following up on Karen's point, wouldn't it also depend on if the parties that we are going to solicit, the constitutionals and the BOCC, come before us with issues, wouldn't it also be dependent, our review schedule and whatnot, wouldn't that also be dependent on that? What
Yes.
comes forward from
Yes.
them?
Yes.
If anything?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, I echo It works when you turn it on. If there is a predictability, as best as we can, to that schedule, not only for our part to do research on the particular, charter, and of course, new ideas that we want to implement, but if there is a way, and I would be, love to hear from others that have served on it, kind of how you guys did it in the past, but yeah, somewhere to where there is predictability, like at least in the first 2 to 3 meetings, to say, hey, we're going to go over, this section of the charter. That way we can anticipate, staff can anticipate if it makes sense to bring in a particular constitutional or, county administrator, whatnot, to, soundboard, that. But if there is a way, as best we can, to make it predictable so that on the when we go back home, we can appropriately do research on that. And then knowing the last 6 months or whatever it may be, that's going to be really getting into brass tacks of, all right, here are the issues we're going to wind down and look at. So then we know, all right, bring in this constitutional, bring in this subject matter expert. So statement/question.
Do you want to comment on that, staff?
That would be fine. I think the goal would be to make sure we have enough time allotted of issues, especially ones that have a lot of interest from the public. We may also want to vary our meeting if we know that we're going to have a large amount of people. We can handle that as we move forward, definitely.
So are you, I'm going to get you. Are you proposing that we'll know what's on our agenda 3-4 months from now? I mean, it'll be.
It may not be that much leadway, but we will make sure that we map that out in advance so that we can prepare for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Taylor?
I just want to, we're not here to wordsmith the hell out of the charter here. We're here to, I think, identify flaws or improvements that have naturally evolved. So it's not like I just counted all these paragraphs. I mean, we wouldn't have enough months for all of those things, or a complete redo of it. Right. What we try to do is target things that we think are in the community, that we may need to think about because of certain growth and development types of issues. But this is not an overall, we're changing this thing out and turn Jan Platt over in her grave or something, you know. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm just teasing. But I am thinking about not getting into, that kind of a thing, but staying really at a high policy level kind of a discussion.
Ms. Droege?
Thank you, Chair. This is directed to both Beth and Mary Ellen. Not to put extra burden on you because you already have a job to do, but will we have to wait 21 days? I'm going back to Dr. Collins's request. Will we have to wait 21 days for that understanding of what previous charter review, the major issues that they addressed?
No, I think we can put that together probably by next week.
Okay, great. I'm not trying to pin you down. I'm just trying to get a general idea.
We'll do it. We're not going to wait for when the minutes are
I think that would be
prepared.
really helpful as we approach the discussion and the, you're right, we're here to wordsmith the charter. But that would be very helpful as we approach our mission to understand what issues came before previous charter reviews and what was the dissolution of those issues? You know, where did they go? Did they gain any ground? Were they dropped? You know, what was the deal with that? I'd like to know that.
We certainly can give you that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Quickly, I believe I got
hold on.
this from Beth, which were the last 3 executive summaries from the Charter Review Board. Did I get that from you?
Don't think you got that from me, but I was going to offer that.
I might have gotten it from Commissioner Miller. She may have.
I don't think you got that from.
But it is available because I have the last 3.
Yeah, I do have the last several Charter Review Board, their final executive reports that we can have out to you.
Oh, super.
In the next day or so, absolutely.
Okay, good. So I'm still, Mr. White.
Yeah, I think it's important that Mary Helen at least mention the process in order to get something on the ballot. Speaking of the public hearings, what is the requirement for the board to actually get an item to the ballot?
You have to have a public hearing. The proposal needs to have 10 affirmative votes to place something on the ballot. And then we will take care of notifying the supervisor of elections. We would draft the ballot language that appears on the ballot, as well as the whole proposal in its entirety. And it's the ballot language that appears on the ballot. And that's the 75 words with a 15-word title.
So you got to have 2 meetings, 2 public hearings, 2 public meetings before you can have something voted out to the ballot.
And sometimes there's been more than that. You know, there might be a workshop-type meeting just for public input, but we can make those decisions as we get closer to those timeframes.
That's what I'm trying to tell this board. I mean, you're going to have some meetings in order if you're going to accomplish something. If you have an issue that you want on the ballot, minimum is 2 meetings just to get one issue on the ballot. and it's got to be publicly noticed and all that good stuff. Speaking of that, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
the only
sir.
thing that haven't been discussed is the communication plan to the public. How and in what ways are we letting the public know that the Charter Review Board has been convened? Are we using the Hillsborough County website? Are we, my deep concern has always been the African-American community and getting something in the Florida Sentinel Bulletin and the Times and letting folks know, hey, your charter board is meeting. People are busy, you know, a lot going on in our county. And so a good public communication plan is critical if we're going to have any kind of success as well.
Correct. And Beth will spearhead the type of communications with input from the board. So we certainly would like to do that as well.
Thank you. I still have out for discussion the methodology of how we're going to approach our task. That we will do a complete charter review next month, and we will tick off anything we want on a future meeting agenda, as well as anything we're adding to the charter. Is that an acceptable approach to how we do our job? Yeah. Okay.
And I think that would be, Mr. Chair, if it's
Yes,
allowed.
ma'am.
I think that would be great because by then we will also have the other
Yes.
topics and we would have notification having gone out to the constitutional officers and the BLCC.
Yeah.
And that really would give us the feed into your
And then, yep.
plan. But that's not why I raised my hand.
Oh,
I just wanted to ask one question because I
Yes.
noticed it here, and I've watched the charter review on TV, not coming down in person, but are the public comments, and you'll probably know why I'm asking this, public comments are always at the end?
I'd be happy to address that. Because tonight's meeting was just an organizational meeting, selecting the chair, we haven't really gotten to the issues that the public would really want to embrace on. But yes, the public comment will be at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, it will? Okay.
Once we establish a quorum and those things, yes, that'll be the first thing.
That was my other question.
Good catch.
Okay.
yeah, I noticed that too. And I've got a statement on the public. Okay, so I want to, we're starting to run out of discussions. Any, I'm going to, let me move on to the public comment approach. Can I think I almost should read this
Chairman?
document so we all are all on the same wavelength.
Do we need to take a vote on
Well,
your procedure?
we could.
I just didn't know if we were moving on to another subject without taking a vote.
We could. Okay, we're getting nod for a vote. Okay, so what I'm asking for is that the approach where we will review the complete charter next month, and we will tick off any sections that anyone wants to review in detail at a future meeting, along with any other sections that are going to be added to the charter. That's our approach. So moved. We have a motion, Ms. Holt. Is there a second? We have a second, Ms. Latham. Any discussion of that motion? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You didn't raise your hands. Any opposed? Okay, the hand raising is optional, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Well, let me move into the public comment approach. This was a document I got handed, which maybe I should read it so everyone has the same understanding. I'm going to read verbatim. The Charter Review Board has established a period at each of its regular meetings to allow citizens to speak on issues related to the Hillsborough County Charter. First priority, this is underlined, first priority will be given to citizens signed in to speak regarding items on today's agenda. So, departing here for a moment, there will be a sign-in sheet, basically saying, yeah. Should we anticipate we'll be in this room for future meetings as well? So will the sign-in sheet be over in that? Ta-da! Thank you, Karen. Yeah. Okay, the board respects the right of citizens to express their opinions and concerns. However, the board requests that citizens present their concerns in a respectful manner in order to maintain a polite atmosphere where all individuals are respected. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. Up to 3 minutes are allowed for each speaker. So I'll probably read something like that, or I guess before we begin public comments. And then at the conclusion of, people can comment online too as well, correct? Yeah. So there'll be an option for public comment online. Then I think additionally, a public comment is available on the Charter Review Board page located at cfl.gov/charter. All online submissions submitted before 5 p.m. of the day of the meeting will be read into the record that night. As chairman, I will read public comments submitted on the website into the record. Okay, that's how we handle public comments. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. Yes, Ms. Hall, and then Ms. Collins. Ms. Hall first.
Mr. Chair, my question is, the Board of County Commissioners allow public comment on non-agenda items. I heard him read agenda items. So is there public comment allowed for non-agenda items, or are we restricted to agenda?
Yes, of course. The statement read that those signed up to speak on the agenda will be heard first. It's consistent with the Board of County Commissioners, and then, of course, anyone is invited to speak on any topic.
Thank you.
Did someone, Ms. Collins, did you have a?
My hand was up, but that was my question.
Wow, we're in the same.
I heard
we're in the same groove there, huh? Okay. I don't have anything else on the agenda. Mr. White.
I just got one additional comment. I know we're going to invite the Board of Commissioners and the Constitutionals. We don't know who is the NACP want to speak? Is any of the top political science professors from the University of Tampa, University of South Florida want to speak before the board, or any major civic associations in our county want to speak to the Charter Review Board? I'm trying to recall how the process worked when we had major institutions and major groups that wanted to address the Charter Review Board. Just something to think about,
Yeah, I recall the chair had some discretion. So someone who was an expert witness might, for example, get more time than the 3 minutes that a public person, a citizen might get. So we exercised some discretion, given subject matter experts more time.
Just say we invited someone to speak. Will they be put on the agenda and you give them, say, 20 minutes to make their presentation or something like that? Just say we invite the top political science professor from the University of South Florida. You put them on the agenda, you give them X amount of time to make their presentation.
It'll be at the chair's discretion.
Well, I don't know about that,
Well,
that's an issue.
You got to trust me.
Is that in the rules? Did we just adopt that to solely give the chair?
May I speak on that?
Okay, Ms. Snively, go ahead,
Comment?
and then Ms. Ferris.
Just from previous experience of being on the school board, we reserve some space and time when it comes to research or information or data for our workshops outside of the actual meetings. And so, but generally, yes. I mean, the chair, the purpose of the chair is to run the meeting. That is your main purpose, and therefore you have the authority or the discretion of putting something on the agenda if you'd like to, or not putting something on the agenda if that is your prerogative. So, but if you feel strongly about hearing someone and you wish the entire board to have the opportunity to hear that person speak, then you might suggest a workshop, or we agree on a workshop where we can bring in speakers from different points of view with different data points and different information for us to consider, and therefore we can engage more with that person and spend time with that individual, posing questions that get down to the topics that you want to know more about. That's just a suggestion of how we used to do, we still do that on the school board, I believe currently. Workshops are for information sharing, gathering, discussion, brainstorming, understanding, and then the meetings themselves were for taking action on items on the agenda.
Well, Mr. Chair, I just want to
Yes, sir.
be clear. I want to send a message to the citizens of Hillsborough County that we are putting in rules and policies and guidelines that lock them out the charter board.
Absolutely
That's not the message I want to send.
That's not the message.
Okay.
Chair?
I'm going to recognize Mr. Roche and then Ms. Collins.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to just kind of having, we said that we wanted to invite the commissioners to come and speak. I just want to point out that the Charter Review Board is the opportunity that citizens have to amend the charter. The Board of County Commissioners has the authority currently to make changes to the charter. So I just want to make sure that we do preserve public comment. And I agree with, do I call you commissioner or what do we? Melissa, member, okay, yeah, it didn't seem right to call you Melissa. Member Snively, that those types of presentations should be at a workshop because we need to preserve our meeting time for the public comment to citizens. They're welcome to come, in my opinion, as, to get the 3 minutes of public comment, and then if we decide as a body to maybe create a workshop to give them further time, I think that would be the appropriate time to do it. But I don't think it's a fair characterization to say that we're locking anybody out. I think, conversely, we really want to hear from the public, and we want to preserve those meetings for public comment where they can come and give things before the board.
Yes, Ms. Collins?
Yeah. My only point that I really want to make is, I think as our chair, we are going to defer a number of things, but as the board collectively, the board will be making the decision, and the chair is a facilitator and a presider. And
Absolutely.
I don't want us to put that power of saying just no. And I think I understand where you're coming from. I want to make sure that we
Yeah.
all collectively have that opportunity to say yes or no. And I think that's the intent of what you were saying.
Yes.
And I think collectively, we're going to respect our chair and make sure the chair is actually leading, facilitating, guiding, presiding, but not making the decision as to whether or not someone will come.
That's correct.
And I think that's what the question was.
Ms. Hall?
I would just like to read into the record.
Thank you, Doctor.
I would just like to read into the record Rule 4, Presiding Officer, subsection D. So the last full sentence of Rule number 4 says, "The presiding officer of the board shall have the following functions." Rule D says, "Recognizing members of the general public or staff to speak." You don't have a choice not to recognize them.
That's correct.
As the rule is created.
correct.
So no choice is placed in your hand according to the
correct.
rule. Your job is to recognize that they're here.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, as far as the rules are concerned, he doesn't have the option. He, as the chairman, must do that.
Right,
Thank you.
yeah. I was referring actually to the 20 minutes remark, yeah. I mean, I may want that person to only speak 15 minutes because of all the other complexities, something like that, but it'll depend on the circumstances. I rarely get a complaint from anyone about how I chair the meeting, so hopefully that'll be the case with you as well in your situations, yeah. I will be very respectful. We made some good points here, and we're almost at the end of the agenda. Well, we are at the end of the agenda. Anybody got any thoughts? What do you think? What do you think? We're going to have a good year? Yeah.
Yeah, are we having public comment? Because it's
Yeah.
on the agenda.
We're going to
there-
open
I think
out
that
the-
was how
There-
public comment is going to, the process of public comment, which we went over just a minute ago.
Well, I think
That's
we have
public comment.
Mr. Schiff
I
here.
think
You
what I'm
wanna make
talking
a-
about is there actually are members of the public here,
Oh.
Melissa, so that, and it's
I
on
s-
the agenda, so that's why I'm asking, are we
I see
having
Mr.
public comment?
Schiff, but I think he came to observe. No comment. Thank you. Appreciate you being here, though, Gordon. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So what do you think? It's going to be a great year? I think it's going to be exciting. And what's wonderful is we're all going to be enriched. We're all going to learn something and learn from each other besides learning how the county operates. So I'm just excited, you know. And I'm really going to cut back on my vacation, so I'm going to be here nearly every month. Okay, nearly every month. And I hope you all do the same. All right, anything else to add? And Beth, you want to, any? Well, we'll close with God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Have a great, safe drive home. Thank you.